Oh, this is going to take some time, honey.
Well, it's a good thing you're on vacation.
For 2 weeks.
Maybe eternity.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. I don't know why I'm all of a sudden losing my voice. Welcome to spooky season on Pineapple and Lemon Channel.
We're starting a little early this year because we have a few lined up.
We have quite a few lined up. The movie that we're chatting about today is Beetlejuice.
Don't say it again.
No, I'm not saying it again.
You'll invoke him.
You got to say it 3 times. Well, today we have a throwback.
Yeah, classic.
I feel like one of our favorites.
I think I was a bit older the first time I watched it. So I didn't grow up with it like as a young kid, but I was definitely like maybe like 10 the first time I saw this one, but
yeah, for sure. I don't remember the first time I saw it, but I do know that I saw it like pretty young, but I thought it was funny. I was never scared of it.
Yeah. I mean, obviously another reason we're talking about this is the sequel's coming out this year. Yes. Many years after the fact.
We didn't think that we thought it was just like a one and done kind of thing. They decided to bring it back. So I'm excited to see it when it comes out It's not out as of recording. So as of recording, it's not out, but we will definitely chat about it on the podcast once we've seen it. Yeah. So you saw this probably when you were around 10 or so.
Yeah, like I definitely was a bit older because when I was growing up, we didn't watch anything like scary, really. Not that I'd classify this as a terrifying movie in any way, but like we didn't really watch any Tim Burton adjacent or Tim Burton movies, really. So I think this was probably one of the first ones I ever saw of his.
Yeah, I would think that this would also be probably the first one that I saw of his work as well.
What about you? Do you have any kind of fond memories?
I remember the wild costumes, the different size heads and faces. Yes. The eyeballs, like, and then just thinking that he who must not be named, which is very like gross looking. Yeah. 10 out of 10. Like,
I mean, it's quite the Michael Keaton performance. I do believe a lot of it was improvised. They let him loose essentially
and just have fun with it, which I like too, because you can tell that everyone was having fun on it. And these are always my favorite films to watch, is when you can tell everybody involved just had a blast with it. There's no hate. There was like, everyone loved showing up to work to do the job that needed to get done. So I'm quite excited to watch this. I haven't seen this movie in very many years.
Yeah, me too, probably.
For those who have not seen Beetlejuice, sorry, I said this 2 times now. I'm not saying it a 3rd time. So this is the plot synopsis from IMDb. The spirits of a deceased couple are harassed by an unbearable family that has moved into their home and hire a malicious spirit to drive them out.
And I mean, Danny Elfman's score, I mean, that's a big part of this too. It gets you going.
Right.
All the women in this movie, Gina Davis, Catherine O'Hara, Winona Ryder, like we got the big names here.
You got the absolute big names. And Michael Keaton.
Big name. Because I think this was before Batman.
I think so.
So working relationship starts here. Did this blow your mind for the first time when you realized this was not real? That this is all just a little miniature?
Yeah, it did.
I think it works well because they kind of like seamlessly blend it in. So you're not really thinking about it too much. And then when it does happen, you're like, oh, okay.
I feel like it's around this part where I realized that this isn't real. Like, the hill, you can only do so much, right?
Oh, that's a big fella.
That is a very big fella that's just hanging around there.
Why would you put that on your hand?
We have some like, what are they, like wolf spiders?
Yes.
That hang out around here that are huge. They're bigger than that. Yeah. But otherwise, like most house spiders are pretty small.
Yeah. Most of them you can't see the body. Yeah. If I can see the body,
it's too much.
It's too much for me. If I can't smush it with a shoe.
Oh, Pumpkin, I didn't mean anything. It's just that, really, this house is too big.
So they're not trying to sell the house. This chick's just like, I'm going to sell your house for you regardless.
She's like, this is such a nice house. Like, you couldn't possibly want it, right? I'm just going to sell it for you.
You can't do that. If they own the home. Iconic.
Yeah, I know, right? It's such a simple structure, but you see it and yes, it's instantly, you're like, I know exactly what movie.
Bosman built that foundation in 1835.
No.
You just want someone to talk to.
He had a whole spiel ready to go too.
Right?
Trim it a little. I took us.
Oh.
So does he own the hardware store?
Well, the barber shop was right beside it, and then the fire department was on the other side of it.
Who's his dog belong to?
Was it not the man polishing the statue earlier?
Well, this dog's just wandering loose around the village.
Well, this dog causes a lot of issues. And I mean, obviously this is supposed to have a little bit of a more goofy side of it because it's not a downer movie, but they do just fall in and then do they just drown, I guess?
I guess. I think it's because we know that they're supposed to be dead for the film. Like, that's the whole point of it all.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also one of those where, like, did you not try? Or
But yeah, maybe the doors got stuck or something.
they had the windows down, though.
Reminds me of what we do in the shadows with the Pac-Man. That's nice that they give you a handbook at least.
Right?
Makes the transition a little easier.
Yeah, the step-by-step guide.
Oh, this is going to take some time, honey.
Well, it's a good thing you're on vacation.
For 2 weeks.
Maybe eternity.
I wish I had a bit of...
It's nice that they have the music playing throughout the movie, interspersed, and then later on they'll have their big number. As a concept for this being a children's movie, kind of teaching kids about death, do you think this works as like an easy talking point, or do they even care?
I feel like they partially don't care, but it's also, I think, a pretty easy way to explain it for children.
Or even just like broach the topic.
That's not terrifying.
Yeah.
What an entrance.
What an icon. Also quite the entrance.
And I don't mean my and I bought it. I mean I made it. It's my sculpture.
I like a lot of the like people that aren't the main characters, town folk and extras and things. They just add that Tim Burton flavor to things.
Although why don't you just come in the front?
I mean, all around some great entrances for characters.
I know, right? So suave. His buttons match his shoes.
I know. You don't usually think to match those.
Right? Do you have a matching pocket square too, or no?
If you don't let me gut out this house and make it my own, I will go insane and I will take you with me.
Love it.
I think that was a perfectly reasonable response.
Very level.
Yes.
Just punch it.
Yeah, just bop them on the nose, I guess.
I think we should keep it the way it is.
I like the idea of being full hat, full veil, trying to eat dinner.
Right? Just trying to eat under the veil.
Yeah. That guy working the crane is definitely doing it on purpose.
Oh, 100%.
Well, come on down to see me, folks, because I'm the after-house leading bowel exorcist.
He's just like, not even. They're like, okay, you have to do a used car sales pitch. Have fun.
Even the fact that it's like cowboy themed.
Right? It doesn't have to be. It didn't have to be at all. Welcome to Diagon Alley.
Well, it's looking a little more green than I was expecting.
Nocturne Alley?
Yes.
I love that we're inside and we're wearing a sun hat.
She's got to block out all these lights.
She should have the veil on too.
Well, I mean, that's only for when we're eating.
Oh, only when we're eating we use the veil. That makes a lot of sense.
Trying to cut down myself.
Yeah, I would hope so.
I mean, at that point, does it really matter
Well,
though?
there's not much left of you to cut down, so.
And that is what happens when they die.
Do you think there's a reason why some of them are like green and blue?
I'm curious about that actually.
Yeah.
Skeleton crew.
Even when you're completely just bone, they still put you to work.
Right?
Thanks, I've been feeling a little flat.
Nice that they made a perfect shape for him to get through.
They're very accommodating.
Yes.
All our furniture's gone.
Okay, be honest. What version of the home decor would you prefer to live in? The old one or this one?
Probably the old one's a bit more like grandma's house. This one's a bit like too much.
What did you expect? You're dead.
Lower your expectations.
But yeah. I mean, how many people has she had to deal with too, right?
Too many. So we're pretty far in the movie to not really have him appear
Well, that's kind of the thing
in
too.
full force, right?
He's not actually in the movie a lot.
Come on. Hey, come here.
I do like the tactile, like because it's the small grass, like the way that it looks when they do
Yeah.
these scenes.
It's like very distinct. It's ingrained into me. Like when I think about this movie, I think like these scenes, like the grass and the texture of it.
Yeah.
And like the other world and like the plane and how the with the worm and all that. It's laid out.
Always posed like that. Life is such a struggle when you're a teenager.
The torture. Why are they scared? They're the ghosts. They have the power.
I know. I feel like they want to be seen, but they don't.
I myself am strange and unusual.
I mean, that right there
Says it all.
Yep.
Say no more.
You read our book.
Yeah.
You could follow it.
I love that she's like, yeah, I read it. You guys didn't read it? That's the whole reason you have to do anything here.
All you had to do was sit there and read the book.
Beetlejuice.
Well, there it is.
That's it. It happened.
Now you're tiny.
That's it. That's all he does.
I'm here. You've waited almost an hour.
Even though I didn't need you guys to dig me out of my grave, I still made you do it.
Not to mention the fact that you're talking to a dead guy. Now what do you think?
He just hit so many different levels in that one little
I
scene.
know.
Sometimes not showing it is even better.
Yeah, right?
Who knows what they just witnessed?
I'm not staying here another minute.
Don't pay attention to it.
I wonder how he decided to run like that. The choice behind it. Do you think they're going to have another possession scene in the sequel?
I kind of hope so.
Is their goal here to like scare them? Or is it to like embarrass them? Or is it just to have a fun dinner party?
I think it's just to make, liven up the dinner party.
Yeah. Love that. That whole scene you're thinking, why are the shrimp so giant?
I know.
And it's because they needed shrimp hands.
Right? If you think about it, because they're not eating, they're just sitting there, and you're like, what's the point? Like, why are we just having shrimp for dinner?
And I have consistently lost money on her work for years now.
Why is he still with her then?
Right?
Man, they gotta stop leaving this book out in the open.
Honestly.
There's too many people reading it.
Should hide it better.
He's like, well, I read the entire book, even though you two still haven't.
That's how you get all the ladies.
This one little gag they built a set for.
Right?
I received word that you allowed yourself to be photographed.
How many ghosts are there? And this has never happened before that they've been photographed. It's just these two.
I think they just had like a lot of bad things back to back.
Straight out the gate, though, they don't give a little leniency.
No.
I know just as much about the supernatural as I do about interior design.
Is that a lot or a little?
Yes.
Which one would you least like to have at the end of your bed at night?
Yeah, both.
I think hers is probably worse to wake up to.
I don't know what your signal means.
Turn around and look behind you.
I feel like he's not doing a great job at charades.
Barbara, just say it.
Just say it already.
He could barely say it. Let me pet you with my eyeball fingers.
Surprised people never try to do this as like a Halloween costume.
I'm sure somebody has.
It'd be like a lot of work.
Yeah. Uh-oh. The ghosts are becoming ghostier?
What?
As flies the lizard.
Should have worn more sunscreen in her life.
This is a PSA, wear your sunscreen. Otherwise, you'll be all wrinkly in the grave.
Even in the afterlife. I do like that these kind of, I guess, like easier to do things like just levitating the body has a, like a nice effect to it, especially with the coloring. I feel like this movie is green, purple, and black and white. Like those are the colors associated.
Help them, please.
Oh, so you've come to me, have you?
You should have been petting like a skeleton cat.
He essentially was.
It's showtime.
Let's go. Such a choice for them to make it the red dress.
I love that though.
Because she's been wearing black like the whole movie, so it really makes it pop more.
I definitely like that they chose to go with red opposed to traditional white.
They got a lot of mileage having her be a sculpture maker.
Yeah, right?
They're able to use it for quite a few different scenes.
Yeah.
And this guy just shows up, be the officiant.
Right?
Sure, yeah. Go ahead.
Sure, yeah, go ahead.
I think that's it, yes.
Maybe This is the music we should be listening to while we play Overcooked.
It might make us more stressed.
It sounds kind of similar though.
Yeah.
Now we gotta fix the house again.
We gotta completely redo the house.
He likes it.
She was so inspired. I like that they don't float with her. It's just for her.
Right? Like, we can do this any old time.
Yeah. And the football players.
They get to come back.
Now they've accepted their fate.
Right?
They're ready to party.
Oh my goodness, that was good. It was good to rewatch it because it's been so long since I've seen it last. Yeah.
It's also, like we were kind of saying, like a good chunk of it, there is no Beetlejuice.
Yeah, what was it? Like at least 30 minutes or so before we even get like
the infomercial.
Yeah.
But then like him actually there, it's like, it's pretty far into it. So.
But then for him to actually do anything, it's not until the final act of the film that he actually has to do something. So it's just kind of interesting that the film is about him, however, it's not about him.
Yeah, like he's the driving force to a lot of the more memorable scenes, I guess, too. So I think that's the parts that stick out the most to people when they remember it.
Yeah.
There's definitely parts of this movie that are iconic visuals, lines, like they're just so famous from this. It's like not horror, but like scary for kids kind of concepts. Not that it's necessarily going to terrify them, but I could see some kids being like really scared when this first came out. Some of the visuals, if you just are like, what am I even looking at?
Yeah, for sure. I think going back and watching it as an adult, I find it's definitely more of like a comedy. Because I think as an adult, you get a lot more of like the references and you can understand what's going on a bit better than as a kid. As a kid, you're just kind of taken in by the graphics and like how tactile the grass is and like those kind of elements. And you're like, wow, this guy's really gross looking. It's definitely a different watch as an adult versus a child.
Yeah, and there's a general charm to it as well, too. Seeing a lot of it being stop motion or like mask work or just kind of like we were saying, almost like easy camera tricks, like using miniatures, like using to make the bodies lift up and things like that. You're not necessarily like doing something that's so difficult in terms of a film production, but the effect of it is very good because it has that haunted house feel to it almost, like you're walking through one. So yeah, it's just an enjoyable movie, I think, overall. And you can see like why it was popular, but also it has kind of spawned its own look that when you see it, you're like, yeah, that's Beetlejuice.
Yeah, for sure. I'm very curious to see how the newer one, like what it is, like how it looks and how it feels compared to the original. Like obviously movie making has come a long way since '88 when the first one came out. It's very much like hands-on approach. So I'm kind of curious to see also how much screen time is Michael Keaton going to get in this one compared to the first one, right?
Well, that's the parts I'm wondering if they're going to lean on more of those references. Like, even just from the marketing, there's a lot of that shrunken head character. He's not really anything in this. Like, it's a gag, right?
Yeah.
So it is, I'm always curious with these legacy sequels, like if they're kind of paving the way for a new generation to watch or if it's going to be completely referential, like you remember this kind of thing.
Right.
So
more of a nostalgia trip than anything. Yeah, I mean, I'm curious. I think as a filming, it's going to come out here in a couple weeks or so.
Yeah.
So we'll have to go check it out.
Yeah.
And then we'll review it, I guess, on our podcast and see what our thoughts were on it. Let us know. Have you guys seen Beetlejuice?
Yeah.
What do you think about it? Yay or nay? What did you like? What did you didn't like? Are you guys going to see the sequel, whether in theaters or wait till it's released on streaming services? Do you have a favorite character?
Do you have a favorite Tim Burton movie?
Yeah. That kind of opens the vein of Tim Burton films now for us, too. I mean, I think we've seen a fair share. I feel like you've probably seen more than I have. And there's some of his more iconic ones that I sadly have not seen yet, which I don't know why. I've just never gotten around to seeing them. But maybe we'll have to do some more Tim Burton.
Yeah, definitely always open to it. And he's got quite the extensive catalog. So
he has quite a big catalog to choose from. So probably have to take a little look and see what we can add to the roster.
And to end it off, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. Thank you so much for watching with us.
It's been a blast and a half.
Had a really good time.
As always.
You could like this video.
Or subscribe, even better.
If you want to see something for us to watch in the future, like a movie or a TV show, please let us know in the comments.
And we'll get on that right away for you.
Yeah.
Woohoo!